Alright, let me get off of here so I can watch what's going on around here. And I'll talk to you later on. Alright, bye.
Hey guys, it's Jim. Let's give everybody another minute here. Hey Rhonda. Hey Jen. Hi Barbara. Margie. Well everybody, guess what? We're back to action. We're back on the border. We are here. And I got a little surprise for you. For those of you that follow us, you know exactly where I'm at. You guys know that this is Monument 1. And we've done a lot of stuff here. But as you can see, what's missing from the picture? We have absolutely no Mexican police here. So what that tells us is that the likelihood of having some action over the next overnight here is very probable. Now, I want to tell you guys something. Border Patrol just released numbers from yesterday in a press release. The place where Camp Liberty used to be located, referred to as the Bowl, okay, they had 425 people come through there last night. For those of you guys that are just joining us for the first time, that's on the other side of this hill that I'm pointing at. You got to go over the hill about 2 miles through the mountains, and then you come to the other side where the wall actually ends. Now this right here, guys, this area here has absolutely zero wall. So as you can see, when I'm pointing here, showing you guys this building, that's actually Mexico, okay? So it's not very hard to go from Mexico into the United States. Here's the sign. If you look at this sign, you'll see that this is the boundary of the United States of America. So as you can see, no Border Patrol. Okay, if I want to come in illegally, it's very easy for me to do. There's no wall. You know, this is pretty much open territory for whoever wants to do something. I see I'm looking around here. See this? There's nothing here. Look on this side. There's nothing here. Okay, so right now we're the only ones here. Now, the interesting thing about this point is that where I'm standing right now, I'm actually in New Mexico, okay? So this right here, I'm in New Mexico. If I turn the camera that way, I'm in Mexico. That's Mexico on the other side of that guardrail, okay? And if I go over here by the Rio Grande, which is actually very low right now, there's not a lot of water in it. That's why the illegal immigrants are able to cross through the Rio Grande, because there's not much water. Okay, then here in this little portion of land right here is Texas. So I'm actually sitting where the beginning of the land-to-land border is for the entire border of the United States. This is the last area in Texas where you can cross the river, the Rio Grande. But this is one of the highest trafficked areas for human trafficking, sex trafficking, drug smuggling, any activity that you want to imagine. This activity starts, in a lot of cases, right here where we're standing, okay? Now, what was going on while we were here before is that we were covering this area as well as the bowl on the other side where Camp Liberty was, okay? So we had pretty much shut down most of the traffic coming in where the railroad kicked us out, okay? But as they could see last night, the coyotes didn't take long to figure out that we weren't there no more. And so they started pushing people through the area where Camp Liberty used to be. 400 and I believe 25 people to be exact. We've got headlights here. I don't know if this is the police or if this is a coyote. So I'm gonna stand over here to the side, just in case we're actually witnessing a drop-off, which could very well be the case, okay? And So yeah, so they had 425 people come through. Now, also when we were over here, one of the things that they were adamant about after Trump threatened to close down the border is that they wanted to make sure that the Mexican police had a presence here so that it looked as though they were trying to deter people from crossing here. And of course, with our presence here, it did slow down. And now what the Mexican police are doing is they're intermittently covering this. So in other words, they're not here 24/7. So the times when the Mexican police ain't here, and of course you have no border patrol, then this is basically wide open. Now, when they cross here, they have a lot of options. See here? They can go that way up the hill. They can run across the hill this way. They're actually able, if they want to, they can go down the road or they can cross the river. And then they get themselves actually out into El Paso where they're able to do things. And so it makes a big difference on what they're able to do or not do. But I wanted to show you guys this, let you know that we are here, we are back, and we're going to be doing exactly what we've been doing. Obviously, you guys have heard some of the things that have happened. We now have death threats. We had a bomb threat the other day. And one of the things that the ACLU has done is they have actually made up posters with our pictures on them, and they are handing out flyers on the Mexican side to the coyotes, which gets to the cartel, and they're actually handing them out on the American side to the people in processing. The reason they did that is because they were not able to find one immigrant to collaborate their false story that we were kidnapping or holding people at gunpoint. Okay, matter of fact, they couldn't even find an immigrant who would say that they felt like we harassed them. Okay, because those of you who watched the videos, even though a lot of the circumstances were different, we never pointed a gun, we never touched, harassed, physically assaulted, or otherwise kidnapped or did anything that was outside of our rights as U.S. citizens. So in trying to make their case, the ACLU has gotten dirty, and what they've done is created this flyer, and on the flyer it has the number for an attorney, okay? And so they're trying to solicit basically someone to come up with some false allegations that then they could at least have somebody saying that something happened. Because right now there's no evidence anywhere. I've even said this. I challenge anybody to find a video anywhere that's ever been posted. All of our videos are live, where you're going to see us pointing a gun at somebody or holding them against their will. All right, moving on from there, okay? We're back, and obviously we're waiting to see the reaction to that. We haven't got one yet, but I'm pretty sure that, we're going to hear from the governor. She's anti-border. We've already heard from Veronica Escobar. She's the congresswoman who replaced Beto O'Rourke, also another guy that doesn't mind ripping down walls or not having walls, believes that building walls is racist, and that anybody who actively tries to defend the border of the United States or back up the federal agents on the border of the United States, or, even tries to assist in those matters in any shape, form, or fashion, that those people are nationalist racists. So I've kind of gotten over it, okay? Kind of not really too affected by the whole thing. But the bottom line is, guys, is that, we're going to stay here until one of two things happens. Either Congress passes and changes laws, or we get a wall built, okay? And we're encouraging more people to come down. There's a lot of border. There's a lot of people along the Arizona border that need help, the Texas border, the California border, all over the border. We have what President Trump called a national emergency. He said the United States is full. We don't have room. And even if you're sympathetic to people coming in here and claiming asylum. Keep in mind, and I say this all the time, less than 10% of them would actually qualify for asylum because they don't meet the credible fear hearing that they have to go through. But unfortunately, since we don't have time to do that during processing, and we don't have judges down here, we're having to give people court dates that are 5 to 7 years out. Okay, then the other thing is, we have got a system right now that allows the monetization of children. So the child trafficking is also a big part of this crisis. So when you see these family units and everybody says, oh, but look at the kids, understand, until we stop making it feasible for the country to be invaded, okay, I call it an invasion because that's what it is, the monetization of children is only going to stop when we make it hard for people to come across the border. Right now, we do very little to stop people from grabbing kids. We actually encourage it because if somebody comes through the border and they have a kid, the likelihood that they're going to get deported or sent back, even if they've had a prior deportation on their record, we're just going to go ahead and let them in. And then the kid, in a lot of cases, gets recycled. In other words, shipped back and rented or borrowed to somebody else. And I can tell you this, guys, not everybody makes that trip, and it's not even necessarily a safe trip, okay? Because you never know what's going to happen. We've had MS-13 gang members who have now been using kids because they think if they have the kid when they come in, if they get caught, they claim asylum, okay, make up a story, well, they got a kid, and then they figure, well, okay, no problem, we'll just go ahead and ship you back. So, you know, this crisis is a crisis on many different levels. There's many layers to it. It's like an onion. But the fact of the matter is that we have people here, very small percentage, that are truly here for the right reason. The problem is you get too many of them, it's very difficult to separate, you know, who's telling the truth and who isn't. Okay, so that's one part of it. The second part of it is we've got people that, companies that advertise down south for people to come into these caravans and come up, and they pay sometimes $1,500 to $5,000 per head to the Mexican cartel to get escorted and dropped off at places like this, depending on how much money you have. If you don't have a lot, you might have to enter in a rougher area where there's lots of desert to walk through. If you're a Brazilian and you have a lot of money, you might get VIP service, as they call it, where they drop you off here, and you know you've got a border patrol down there waiting for you to surrender, and you know, and some of these Brazilians even go to the extent of acting like it's their job to load their luggage, and that's not what our border patrol was created for. Our border patrol was created to protect our national security. They were not created to take people to hospitals and Uber them to the airport and take care of their needs. All of that stuff takes your border patrol away from the border. And anyway, so, you know, these are things that you guys have to consider when you're considering that, you know, we have thousands and thousands and thousands of people crossing the border right now. And you have a governor here in New Mexico who doesn't seem to care. She's ignoring the counties that in her state that have declared emergencies. Matter of fact, she's not even responding to them. She's saying, oh, that's not my problem. That's a federal government problem. Okay, she refuses to put the National Guard on the border, even in a civilian role, so that Border Patrol would be able to get back on the border and do its job. Okay, and so the bottom line is, you know, this is why we have a problem. This is why we need people. This is why we have got to rally Americans to stop this invasion. We don't have till 2020 to figure out, okay, who can we get elected and how can we fix this? Okay, these people are coming up, you know, 20,000, 10,000, you know, groups of 5,000 at a time. And what they're doing is they're taking over these Mexican cities. They're filling up their hotels. They're camping and tenting on the streets. In a lot of cases, they're leaving these cities in ruins because some people steal, some people just break glass windows and they're taking stuff. You know, like we had a conversation today and we were talking about how when these people cross the border illegally, they're usually very cooperative as long as you don't tell them something that they don't want to hear. In other words, you know, the minute you start telling them no or they can't, they do get violent, they do get aggressive. And I've posted videos of them throwing large rocks at the Mexican police officers who have been trying to slow them down, who've actually been trying to, you know, slow down the crossings. And, you know, the problem is that if the Border Patrol enforces the laws the way they're supposed to, then they get attacked for being racist. They get attacked because, oh my God, you guys are against helping people that are seeking asylum from danger. And like I said, half of these people that come in, maybe not half, but I'm going to say a good 30%, could be charged with kidnapping, child trafficking, and in some cases, sex trafficking, even in those large groups that they're coming in. Because the kids in most of these cases do not belong to the families. They're called fake family units. And because we don't have a lot of information when the males from these third world countries come in, there's not a lot of background. So when they put them into the computer, they don't pop up. So we don't know if they're running from murders. We don't know if they're, you know, sex offenders. We don't know if they're terrorists. So to make the assumption that we have the background information on the people we're letting in, even though that they've been processed, is a completely false statement. Okay, that cannot be backed up by fact. Fact is, we process them based on the knowledge of what our computers have in the record. And a lot of times these people come in with no ID. They just say what country they're from. They give a name, and that's all that the processing center has to go off of. So there's a lot more to this, okay? Then you've got who's paying for this. Who's funding the ads that are going on down there to organize 50 countries to put together large groups of people to come up to our border, okay? That's another issue that we've got, okay? So you've got somebody organizing this stuff. Somebody's helping them pay to get up here. A lot of these people are coming up here with cash already. A lot of them think that when they're asked, why did you come here in the first place? A lot of them are saying, well, because I was told I would get free stuff. And what a lot of people don't understand is that we do give them money. We do give them things when they get here. Because the argument is, if you don't give them anything, they're going to steal from you, okay? And so that's not even necessarily true. In some cases, they have a lot of money in their pocket, plus we're handing them free money, plus we're giving them a sponsor so they're getting a place to live, and we're using up all of our charitable resources, and we're using where the cities are having to tap into emergency funds to accommodate an capacitated, I hate to say it, but human storage, because you got too many people coming through. And just here in El Paso as an example, I'm going to use this. I use this example all the time. Okay, 4,000 people in a facility designed for 4,000 people is a crisis. Okay, 10,000 people in a facility designed for 4,000 people, that's a big problem. That's double crisis level. Right now, we're averaging 20,000 people in a facility built for 4,000 people. But yet, nobody sees that as a problem. Nobody on the left says they care about all these people and they want to help them. Well, then why isn't the National Guard down here setting up tents? Why aren't they setting up kitchens? Why aren't they actively being involved in this so that the Border Patrol can do their job? They're not. They're packing them into buildings. Well, then the Border Patrol sets up a tent under the bridge. Next thing you know, the left is saying, that's Trump's fault. He's racist. He's packing them into FEMA camps. He doesn't care, okay? So, you know, what do you do about this deal if you can't find somebody who's going to do anything about it? If you're not going to stop people from coming into the country illegally, if you're not going to build a wall, if you're not going to sit down and write legislation that stops the invasion and allows the Border Patrol to get back to their job of protecting this country from whatever threat there may be, then it's up to we the people to get it done, because we're the only ones that are going to come down here and tell the truth. We're the only ones that are not getting paid by special interest and other organizations that are funding things like the governor of New Mexico's campaign, things like the ACLU, who it's okay for them to vagrantly defame a group of volunteers on the U.S. border. It's okay for them to report stuff to the governor, but then it's almost like the ACLU is making the law, because now the governor is enforcing the ACLU's laws without actually being able to investigate them. She never investigated any of those allegations. She just came out and made a statement and then told the Attorney General to get to work. She weaponized the Attorney General. And she didn't just weaponize it against us. I don't know if you guys saw the article, but she also came out again and called for an investigation into the Department of Homeland Security as well as the Border Patrol for their alleged collaboration with us. And the fact of the matter is, those guys have done nothing. DHS has done nothing. We've done nothing wrong. But as long as America uses this group in the left media, the mainstream media, to try to paint a picture to everybody else who's thinking about coming down to the border, if they can prove that it's not worth your time, in other words, if we leave the border and we can't handle the attack coming from the left, then they've proven a point to America that anybody who comes down here to try to stop this is going to be met with resistance, is going to be basically destroyed and crushed. We're not going to let that happen, okay? We are working on a lot of stuff. We're going to fight back, and we're going to put them on the defense. You know, they've had us on the defense from day one with their fake allegations. We've been the ones having to defend our actions. But they've had their time to check us out. They've had their time to find the immigrants to complain. They haven't been able to do it. Now they're trying to manufacture things. And that's one of the reasons I talk about this in my live video, because I want you guys to understand every step of the way we're documenting every single thing that happens. So that way, if anybody ever wants to go back or something outrageous were to ever be alleged, you guys will be able to go back to the videos and say, it didn't happen. We'll be able to go back to the videos and say, it didn't happen, okay? And that's why in the very beginning, we never tried to promote a group. We never tried to promote individuals. We simply went with live feeds about what was happening here on the border. And I mean, they've got left-wing activist groups that are out there threatening Facebook for not pulling our videos down. They're actually like attacking Facebook that they haven't pulled our videos down. They've attacked us on so many levels. And because of their attacks, we have now been, like I said, subject to threats to the families and individuals involved with the group. They've done a lot of damage as far as security goes to the integrity of the operation. But the good news is the guys we have down here are very well trained. We are on extra alert because of the new dangers to us that this poses, and we're not going to stop. You know, and I know you guys won't stop sharing the videos. We're going to keep, you know, putting the videos out there. We're going to keep showing you the truth from the border as it happens. We're going to tell you what's happening. And, you know, we're not going to let anybody, no ACLU, no left-wing people that have an agenda to rip down the borders of the United States of America. We're not going to let them invade our country. Too many people have fought for the freedom of this country. Too many people have put their lives on the line to protect this country and its sovereignty to make it what it is today. And, you know, people that sit and say, well, it's okay, you know, they're just here to get jobs, not a big deal. It's a very big deal. It's an extremely big deal. If we have Americans that are camping in Nancy Pelosi's neighborhood that can't feed themselves, we have vets out there that are homeless that served our country that can't feed themselves, and we're sitting down here taking in thousands and thousands of people who are abusing and violating our culture, our boundaries. They're not coming in here waving the American flag. They're not coming in here saying, I want to adapt to the American way of life. They're coming in here, in a lot of cases, very arrogantly. And again, I'm very sympathetic. I'm very sympathetic for people that are truly in need of asylum. I am. Unfortunately, the majority of what we're seeing here is not what that is. The majority of what we're seeing here is fake, it's organized, it's corruption, it's very criminal in nature, it's politicians that have sold themselves for a price, and that price is power. They don't care what it does to the infrastructure of the United States. They don't care what it does culturally to the United States. That's why they don't care about ripping down statues from the past. That's why they don't care about rewriting textbooks. That's why they don't care about your freedoms. Every freedom that you've ever had, and that's what has made America great, is freedom. The freedom of religion, the freedom of the right to own and carry guns. You know, the freedom to do what and be who you want to be. That freedom came with a cost. And that cost is that we always as a country, when did we decide it was okay to not defend our borders? And when we have politicians, at the very least, who won't respond to the President of the United States when he declares a national emergency and says, oh, it's not real, okay? Oh, these are things that aren't really happening. It's all manufactured, okay? When we have governors who have other counties who aren't even affiliated with Donald Trump saying, if you can't help us, then we have to take matters elsewhere, okay? I hate to tell you guys this, okay? This is a crisis. This is an emergency, and it's an invasion. And there's a lot of victims, okay? They say we're not sympathetic, we just hate brown people. That's not true, okay? We have Latinos in our team here. We have, I've said this before, Native Americans. You know, we have people that are women. We have people that are older in age. The last thing we are is a racist organization. But everybody here understands one thing. You cannot just allow the country to be taken over. And that's the key to this whole thing.
If they leave, we need to get the hell out of here.
Okay.
It's getting dark out.
Yeah, so the point that I'm getting at, guys, is that that's why we're down here. That's why we're going to show you guys this, because the bottom line is that people are in a situation where you can't be on the border. I understand that. Maybe you don't know what's going on the border. I understand that as well, okay? But at the end of the day, whether you can be on the border or not be on the border, at the very least, continue doing what you're doing. Share the videos that I'm sharing. Let people know what's going on. You guys can see how long has this border been open since I've been talking, okay? Look at this. Now, it's surprising right now we haven't had anybody come in. I'm assuming they're probably going to come in a little later. But like I said, if you look around you, look around me, there's no Border Patrol. And it isn't because they don't want to be here. It's because they can't be here because they're probably at the processing center, or maybe they're on the road driving, taking somebody to the hospital, taking somebody to a hair appointment, whatever it is, okay? That isn't what those guys signed up for. That is not their job. That is not something that, you know, they signed up to do. So with that, guys, we're going to get back to work here, and I'm going to let you guys go. I'm going to reestablish a position here. Obviously, if anything happens tonight, I'm going to bring it to you live, and thanks for staying tuned. There's a lot more to come, guys. I will talk to you all later, but listen, we appreciate the support. Hang tough, because you know what? We got a big battle ahead of us. So I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you.